So in this session, we are going to talk about journalism, the various definitions of journalism, and cover what are the scopes of journalism and what is the nature of journalism. So when you start defining journalism, the primary objective or the primary thing that we need to look at is what is the etymology of the word, or how did it come around. Okay, journalism, if you break it, the word comes from the word journal, derived from the word journal. Um, and basically we use a journal to write. So journalism must be related somewhere to writing. That's the most fundamental understanding of ours. Now, when we look at it, broaden it, and look at it from perspective of a profession. So journalism would be writing for newspapers and magazines primarily. Now journalism has expanded to other technological medium like radio, television, new media. But essentially, when we look back and try to look at the chronology or the timeline in which this profession emerged, essentially it has got something to do with writing for newspapers and magazines. So it is the communication of information to writing in periodicals and newspapers. This is something that you must keep in mind. So why did it come? It came because common man is always curious to know what's happening across the world, and journalism stepped in as a platform, or as an opportunity, um, by allowing people whom we call a journalist, that they could represent the matter, or they could present what is happening across the world through their writings in newspapers and journals, largely about what is happening across the world in the form of current affairs and news events. So current affairs and news events are crucial when we talk about journalism, because these are the associated events that get recognized or that gets placed in newspapers, journals, and magazines. So it could also be defined as the occupation of reporting, writing, editing, photography, or broadcasting news, or of conducting any news organization as a business. So it's also a business enterprise. Somebody has to start um, this organization and run magazines and periodicals. It's not a one person's job to do this. So it started off maybe as a documentation of events happening across, people coming and reflecting upon that and writing so that other people can get to know. But later on in the post-industrial society, when printing press became a very significant device, of information production, so that's where the newspaper business started to flourish. Okay, so now it's not restricted to newspapers anymore, like I told you. So there is scope of journalism in radio, there's scope of journalism in television, and there's scope of journalism in new media, which is basically a hybrid model of or a combination model of bringing in text, images, multimedia, so on and so forth. So it could also be defined as an occupation of reporting, writing, editing, photography, or broadcasting news. Okay, so the word journalism is derived from the word journal, like I told you, which means a daily register or a diary. So those of you who are familiar with the concept of diary writing, or if you make a daily account of whatever is happening or whatever you want to reflect upon, people maintain a diary. So that's a book that contains your daily reflections, or if we are if we place it in the context of a business, it accounts all the transactions that happens across the day. So it is kept as you know as a memory, as something that you can go back to as a referential material. So this includes newspaper, no matter whether they are published daily or weekly. Now you have uh, daily newspapers. That back in the day, people used to publish weekly newspapers. Now you have weekly magazines. So it also means magazine to whatever section of the audience it caters to. Magazines becomes a little more niche, and it focuses on category of news or the beats that we call. So when a person writes for a newspaper, a magazine, or a journal, such writing is called journalism. Okay, so keep this in mind that this act of writing for newspapers, magazines, or journals would be called as journalism, which means communication of information about daily events, condensed into few words, sounds, or pictures. So it depends on the medium. If you are using radio only, then your material for information production and dissemination is happening only through the oral medium, which is sound. If it is print, then it could be a combination of words and pictures. If it is television, then you have audio-visual media to take care of this. What journalism does, journalism satisfies the vital human need by providing members of the public with relevant and requisite information. Now, this becomes a little crucial to understand that what sort of an information must float in the society, what sort of information is required or relevant for the members of the public. Who are the members of the public? You and me, we are the members of the public. Okay, and it is necessary that this vital urge of ours, this vital need of ours to know what is happening across the world, to stay aware about the entire world, is fulfilled by the journalists or those people who engage in the profession of journalism. While a historian records what has happened in the past, a journalist reports on current events and the latest news. Okay? So if you draw some sort of an analogy or some sort of comparative parallel between these two professions, somebody who is a history writer, somebody who does historical writing, and somebody who does journalism, understand that the journalist's job is to document or record or report about what is happening in the current period and offer people with latest news and information, while a historian tries to document or record what has happened in the past by researching, by finding out things about the past or information about the past. According to a majority of researchers, journalism means the collection and editing of material of current interest, collection and editing of material of current interest. Okay, so there has to be some sort of novelty in it or something that is happening now. For presentation, publication, or broadcast. Okay, these are the things that you need to keep in mind, that journalism is also the business or the occupation of presentation, publication, and broadcasting of material. So in other words, journalism means communication of information to the public by any media. It could be newspaper, radio, television, and now the new media, which is the internet or the information communication technology enabled media. The oldest journalism is connected to periodical journalism. Okay, what is periodical journalism? Periodical journalism kind of offers you content written by using the platform periodical. A periodical is printed at a regular or a fixed interval. Now, it could be a fortnightly, it could be a monthly, it could be a bi-monthly, it could be a weekly, it depends. Okay, it's called a periodical, and because there is a period, as a time period that is associated with it, and that material is printed or published, during a fixed interval. Periodical can also be called as a newspaper. It appears at least weekly in a recognized newspaper format and has general public interest. So if you're not catering just to a very niche audience and focusing on a particular kind of news or a particular beat of news, then it is always accepted within the public domain, in the public sphere, because general public is interested and curious to know about everything that is happening across the world. So when you publish, a periodical in a recognized news format, is a broadsheet that is used. So, and if it elicits public interest, then it could be defined as a newspaper. Just give me a minute. Okay, so in the modern age, the press is called the fourth estate. Okay, now if you read a little more about it, you would know why the press is called the fourth estate. Something that we discussed right at the beginning of the semester. That the reason why the press is called as the fourth estate and what are the other three states. It enjoys a very important place in society and plays a very vital role in a democracy. Okay, so journalism as a profession and journalists, they play a very significant role in the society, and especially, a democratic country like ours. Okay, let's look at what are the scopes of journalism. Okay, journalism draws its impression from the present. Like I told you, that the focus of journalism is by and large on what is happening um, in the current period. It depicts the situation as it develops. Okay, uh, as we speak, there are events that are happening across the world, and somebody or the other is covering these events because it is vital for people to know what is happening across. So it's the very scope of journalism is event dependent. Okay, because what you are doing is you are doing a day-to-day documentation, day-to-day operation of gathering and transmitting news. And journalism as a profession affects everyone. We can say that, we don't want to get into the business of news reading or news dissemination or content dissemination that appears in these kind of platforms. But if you don't do so, then our lack of awareness can push us outside of the society in a certain way or the other. And everything that's happening across the world, we might assume that it doesn't affect us, but it does. How closely it affects us or how distantly it affects us is a matter of time, it's a matter of geography, it's a matter of newsworthiness of a particular material. But in general, when things happen, it does affect everyone. So journalism concerns you, journalism concerns me, journalism concerns the society at large. If a journalist delays reporting of news even by a day, no, even let's say by a few hours, it becomes state. So it's the whole idea of journalism is to stay relevant in now, in the period of now. That is also the reason why you would see so much of TV wars going on, where one channel is pitting itself against the other and tries to push itself aggressively in the market, saying we are the ones who are offering you breaking news 24/7. And as consumers, we have gotten ourselves into a state of being acquainted or being familiarized with this cycle of 24 hours news programming, where everybody wants to know what is happening in the format of a breaking news. That we as a news organization are breaking this news to you first. So such is the process of consumption, such has become the process of consumption. So it's not like writing a book at your leisure. Okay, that's why journalists are the ones who meet deadlines. You most of the times you come across this term if you are in a newsroom or you are a part of the profession. Then you come across this thing that okay, there is a Friday deadline, there is a 5 o'clock deadline or a 7 o'clock deadline, because today's news tomorrow becomes stale, must come up. That's why newspapers, when television came up, newspapers struggled to a certain extent to compete, because the minimum cycle that a newspaper follows is that of a day. So what is happening today is going to be published tomorrow. What is happening tomorrow is going to be published day after. That's the cycle newspaper follows, at least the daily. A weekly one compiles everything that has happened in the past week and presents. Whereas when television came up with a 30 minutes news bulletin in the beginning, when it was only state owned. That was Doordarshan. And then later on, post 91, when um, you know, uh, economic liberalization happened and free market economy came into play. There are a lot of private players, private investors who came on board, and then they started their own new channels. And now you have so many private owned new channels constantly competing against each other to, to offer you news at the most fastest pace. And now you have new media where news almost travels every minute, every second as we speak. So if you look at it from a point of view of just writing, there is no comfort or leisure in terms of writing unless you are doing a feature story for a weekend. Like for example, when I was with Times, um, apart from doing the regular reporting, I would do a weekly feature. So that weekly feature would be discussed with the edit team on Tuesday and would be published only on Saturday or a Sunday, depending on the space. So I used to get 4 days or 3 days to go collect the data, take interviews, take photographs, whatever I have to do to file that story. Come back and file that story by Thursday afternoon or maximum by Thursday night or Friday morning. So that 1 day's gap is there for the designer, for the editor to proofread the copy and finalize it so that it can get published, published on a Saturday or a Sunday. Whereas if I write a book, I can take whatever time I want to in order to finish that. So that leisure is not there. So journalism, to be effective, has to always be on the move. So the role of a journalist is not confined to merely reporting the news and events. He is also responsible for interpreting and commenting on news and events. So as and when, if you look at very senior journalists, they have moved from doing field-based reporting to more of development of interpretative materials and commenting on critical social issues, commenting on news and events as an event unfolds. So thus a journalist's main function is to give out news and views. So one is news, another is views. Views is when your opinions come into picture. Your opinion, which should be informed by the criticality of the matter, by your assessment of that particular news event that you're talking about. And remember that as a journalist, people look up to you while you are reporting, while you are documenting this event and presenting it to them. And also when you become a little established in your profession, people do look up to you as somebody whose opinions on a particular event or whose takes or stand on a particular event matters. So the views to be expressed need not be those of his own. It could have emerged. It could be a curated information as well. He can elicit and report the views of knowledgeable cross sections of people, which is where quotations come into picture, which is where bites come into picture. That you need to gather information, you need to interview people, you need to understand what is their take on a certain thing, and then try to balance the story. Journalism in its wider sense includes reporting and commentaries delivered on the medium of television and radio. Even news events and documentaries could come within the scope of journalism. Now, why do I say that documentaries could also come in the scope of journalism? Because what documentary does is it kind of intrigues you or offers you so much of context to discuss. And documentaries are by and large event based. These are audiovisual materials where you see interviews, you see commentaries, you see people taking critical stands on issues that that concerns us. So the editors, the reporters who are working for television, radio, or film industry do claim that when they deal with the news and views, they too are as much covered by the term the press as people belonging to the print media. Now, your earliest memories of this and your everyday memory of this as well could be by looking at a lot of vehicles, vehicle owners putting up the sticker that the press. which means they belong to the press community. Okay, so the entire fraternity is called press. And what qualifies a person to be called as a journalist is the nature of the function performed by him or her, and not the media for which they are working. So it's not about whether you are working for television or newspaper, magazines, or radio, that you can only be called as a journalist. A person can independently pursue journalism if he or she is keen and interested in and has the wherewithals to do so. There are so many independent journalists, citizen journalists, bloggers. Now with YouTube and other platforms, online platforms at play, there's a lot of scope in that sense, that if you don't want to be a part of a certain media organization, yet you are aware and you have the credibility and you're concerned about what is happening across the world, then you can also get into the profession by doing responsible journalism. In a broad sense, the function of journalism are to convey national policies to the public. Okay, what is happening across the nation and what are the policies or the stance of the establishment, um, and also to keep the government at the state, local, and central level informed of the public needs. Okay, so see, there is a cross um, pollination of ideas that must happen. So journalist work as a catalyst, or journalism as a business works as a catalyst between the two bodies. One is the public and another side is the dispensation or the government. So government's policies and ideas must be made clear to the public regarding anything. For example, now the budget thing came up. Unless the newspapers and the television discuss about it in details and offer some sort of explanation, the context to the conversation, the public would never be aware what sort of policy level changes happened as far as the economic, um, you know, affairs are concerned in the country in the form of the budget. So the government has to be informed of the public's need, and the public must be made aware about national policies, and this is all done by the journalists. They convey the same thing. It also brings to the notice of the government public's reaction to government policies and decisions. So a constructive criticism is always important, especially for the healthy growth of a democracy. So in addition, it keeps the public and the government informed of the events and happenings at home and abroad. So when we talk about home and abroad, it depends on whether it's a local news channel and local government we are talking about, or state or center, and likewise. Now let's look at the last segment of this presentation, which is called the nature of journalism. There's so many points you can come across. I have put few key ones so that it kind of makes you aware about what this topic is, and few key points that I wanted to discuss. First one is journalism's first obligation is to the truth. Okay, so good decision making depends on people having reliable and accurate facts put in a meaningful context. Good decision making depends on people having reliable, accurate facts put in a meaningful context. So who is making the decision here? The decision makers are the public. Okay. So unless people have right information, accurate factual information on hand, and which is offered to you in a logical manner, people will always remain unaware. So journalism doesn't pursue truth in an absolute or philosophical sense, but in a capacity that is more down to earth. Now we need to understand this part a little. It's crucial that all truths, even the laws of science, are subject to revision, which means nothing is written on stone. So what we do is we try to find logic, we try to demonstrate some sort of a rationale behind why this could be the truth that we are operating from, or this could be the window or the entry point to truth that we are looking for. So to quote Kovach and Rosenstein, two authors who wrote a book on journalism, all truths, even the laws of science, are subject to revision, but we operate by them in the meantime because they are necessary and they work. Okay, pay attention to this part. They are necessary and they work. They work in the context of public information dissemination. They work because public need to know. So journalism, they continue, thus seeks a practical and a functional form of truth. Okay, so what is practical, what is functional form of truth? So it will always remain within the subjective framework of debate, that okay, why this is functional. It's functional from one perspective, it is not functional from another. It depends what sort of a viewpoint you want to project. So it is not the truth in the absolute and philosophical or scientific sense, but rather a pursuit of the truths by which we can operate on a day-to-day basis. So for our daily existence, for the kind of information that we require to function democratically, to operate smoothly in a day-to-day life, being aware about things, what is happening across the world, that sort of a truth is a representative truth. A journalistic truth is a representative truth. But journalism's first obligation is to fulfill that sort of commitment as far as truth is concerned. This journalistic truth is a process that begins with the professional discipline of assembling and verifying facts. Okay, so journalistic truth, remember, it is associated with the assemblage and verification of facts. So what you are doing as a journalist is you're a fact gatherer. Your job is to basically go out and collect as much information and data as you can possibly regarding a particular event, then come back, assemble them together, assemble the data or information that you have gathered together, and then start verifying that. So it's in that verification process that you will discover how much of truth is a functional truth, how much of truth is important for the people to know. Then journalists try to convey a fair and reliable account of their meaning, subject to further verification and investigation. So that meaning-making context is very important. That what you are offering to the public is a reliable and a truthful account of a particular incident. Because it's very easy to twist facts. It doesn't remain fact anymore. You gather information, it's only factual because there is the nature of truth associated with it. If you divide truth away from it, it just remains mere information that could neither be beneficial to public, because what you are doing is you are spreading lies. Here you are peddling or propagating false news or fake news, and that is detrimental to the nature of awareness. Then what you would end up with is creating a propaganda war. So this part is crucial. Remember that journalists should be transparent as possible about sources and methods, so audiences can make their own assessment of the information. Because at the end of the day, it's a matter of reliability. So as journalists, you can only stay transparent and credible and be extremely sure of your sources and methods of application and delivery. Because at the end of the day, the audiences or the readers or the viewers or the listeners are going to make their own assessment and choices of the information. But they subconsciously rely on you. So this is where your responsibility cannot falter. Even in the world of expanding voices, getting it right is the foundation upon which everything else is built. What is getting it right? Getting the information right, getting the delivery right, getting it to the public in the rightful manner. So it's the context, interpretation, comment, criticism, analysis, and debate that matters. Okay, these are the pillars or the most strongest avenues through which journalism operates: the context, the interpretation, the comment, criticism, analysis, and debate. So these are essential ingredients or elements that makes journalism a viable, vital, and a vibrating profession. The larger truth over time emerges from this forum. Okay, what is the larger truth? The larger truth is that where people become absolutely sure of their assessment and decision making in terms of a particular event and its interpretation. As citizens encounter even greater flow of data, get a flow of data and information, like I told you, because of new media, information travels at a much faster pace than how it used to be before. And they have more needs, not less, for suppliers of information dedicated to finding and verifying the news and putting it in the context. So that's the reason why right from the beginning when I said that, if you consume news, you must consume news in a way where data verification could be done. You must not consume news from a one-track perspective. Your understanding of news events would lead to interpretations, would lead to silent observations, would lead to your understanding and expansion of your cognitive abilities. And you could only do so and argue further in a public space or a public fora if you consume news holistically. What I mean is you must follow a 360 news consumption pattern. So if you are following one source, then any source, it's a left source, right source, centrist source, doesn't matter. If you're following one source, then it's difficult because you would never be able to have a kind of a balanced perspective about things. So whether you want it or not, that's a different thing, but there's something that is kind of ideal in a certain context. Second point is its first loyalty is to its citizens. Okay, journalism's first loyalty is to its citizens. The publisher of journalism, whether a media corporation answering to advertisers and shareholders, or a blogger with his own personal beliefs and priorities, must show an ultimate allegiance to citizens. Okay, first is truth, second is prioritizing citizens. They must strive to put the public interest and the truth above their own self-interest or assumptions. As a journalist, I could be biased. We all have ideologies, we all have a certain understanding about the world. But when I'm reporting and writing, I must kind of try to take a balanced or a relatively neutral standpoint in terms of delivery of content. Because I'm not writing for myself. I'm getting paid to write so that public can know. So what you think should be a public interest is something that plays a very vital role. So how much truthful you are to the public, how much truthful you want to be to the public, and how much is your understanding of public interest and a proliferation of public sphere would help you assess whether your self-interest is more important, or your assumptions and your biases are more important, or that of the public. So there's a direct correlation between that. A commitment to citizens is an implied covenant with the audience and a foundation of the journalistic business model, okay, which is ethical in nature. It's very crucial that you follow that business ethics, that journalism must be persuaded or provided without fear or favor, and is perceived to be more valuable than content from other information sources. So as a journalist, you must stay within that space of operation, that while performing your duty of information production, exhibition, and dissemination, you must do so without fear or favor. The commitment to citizens also means that journalism should seek to present a representative picture of the constituent groups in the society. It means that across, we must keep our constitution in mind. And when you're writing, it has to be represented. Your story should reflect a certain kind of secular nature. And when I'm talking about secularism, I'm not talking about secularism alone in the context of religion. I'm also talking about caste groups, I'm talking about social classes, economic classes, broaden the identity of the word. Ignoring certain citizens has an effect of disenfranchising them, okay? Which means you're not considering, you are not representing the matter, you are not interested in talking about the general public. Remember that technology may change, but trust, when earned and nurtured, will always endure. So this part is very crucial, that you create a loyal audience. You create, um, people who trust you for your credibility, for your transparency, for your values and ethics that you bring in with this profession. Next is, it must serve as an independent monitor of power. Journalism has the unusual capacity to serve as a watchdog over those whose power and position mostly affects regions. Bureaucrats, politicians, industrialists, people who are well networked, well connected, people who have all the wherewithals, they have, um, they can, take undue advantages, or they mostly take undue advantages of positions that they are in. And journalism, um, or journalists rather, must be independent of them, and must always have the capacity to independently monitor that growth of power. So what you do is you serve as a watchdog. As a journalist, or the profession of journalism is that of being a watchdog. It may also offer voice to the voiceless, those people who do not get a scope to represent their matter in the public space. Newspaper, magazines, journals, radio, television, all the medium must work as a unit or a platform to offer scope and opportunity to voice out the opinions of the voiceless, powerless, people who are not at the privileged section of society. Being an independent monitor of power means watching over all the powerful people in the society on behalf of the many to guard against tyranny. Otherwise, what will happen is, the common public, is going to be subjected to a lot of ruthless exploitation, and which is not acceptable, a democratic space. The watchdog's role also means more than simply monitoring government. It's not just about monitoring government, like I told you. There's a nexus. You have to get into that. The earliest journalists formally established as a core principle the responsibility to examine unseen corners of the society. Unseen corners of the society is uncomfortable spaces. Nobody wants to do that hands dirty. Nobody wants to get into the mud. Okay, but as a journalist, you have to get deep into the matter. You have to expand your horizon and kind of look at what is happening all at the cross sections of society, instead of just serving to the powerful. So it is that independent nature which plays a very significant role in offering context to informations which is truly democratic in nature. The world they chronicled captured the imagination of largely uninformed society and creating an immediate and enthusiastic popular following. That's also the reason why, all the freedom fighters, if you see during the national freedom movement, were journalists. All of them doubled up as journalists, whether it is Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose, Bhagat Singh. You see all of them ran their own newspapers because they knew that the public is following. They knew that information must reach out to people, and those people who are literate can at least, in the process, make other people self-aware about their stance regarding the injustice committed by the colonial rulers. Largely, the public is uninformed. So in that uninformed society, how do you create awareness? How do you make people question what is happening in the society? Things that are wrong. So profession of journalism thus must act independent as far as power is concerned, or powerful people are concerned. The last point, it must provide a forum for public criticism. The news media are common carriers of public discussion. You see that in television, it happens every day. in newspaper. It happens from time to time. And it is this responsibility that forms the basis for special privileges that news and information providers receive from democratic societies. The scope and opportunity to debate, discuss, put things forward. So journalism should also attempt to fairly represent varied viewpoints and interests in society and to place them in context rather than highlight only the conflicting fringes of debate. So if you're picking and choosing, it's a problem. Your job is to lay the things open and let people choose the right and the wrong. I can have biases and opinions and everything, but I cannot bring that. Then I'm a propagandist. Whether you are a journalist or a propagandist, that you have to decide. So when you are only highlighting the conflicting fringes of the debate, then you are editing out vital pieces of information that can build a context. Allow people to form opinions instead of you trying to, indoctrinate your thoughts. Accuracy and truthfulness also require that public discussion not neglect points of common ground or instances where problems are not just identified but also solved. So as a platform or as a forum, public criticism needs to be accepted and public discussion needs to be um, kept in mind while delivering content. And that would somewhere lead to a space for a better governance, better justice system, where the public problems do not go unnoticed. So that's more or less what I wanted to talk about, journalism definitions, scope and nature. I would stop here. Thank you.